Welcome to Rinnovabili, and let's welcome our guest, Ruben Valiente, Managing Director of Maxxen Energy. Welcome, Ruben.
Piacere. Grazie, Paolo. Thank you so much.
So today we'll talk about the energy transition and its company's technology and innovation. So let's get started with the interview. Maxxen Energy is a European platform founded with the goal of becoming one of the leading international players providing innovative products and solutions to support the energy transition. So, Ruben, given the intense global competition, particularly from Chinese manufacturers, how promising do you believe the European industry is today?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for hosting me here with you guys today. The question is very relevant. There are so many suppliers of BESS today. Only 2 are really manufacturing in Europe today. And we are talking about 2 in 50. Everything is basically China. And there is a good reason for that. China is doing it very well. They're actually very competitive. They are very innovative. And that will remain like this. I am, however, extremely bullish for the possibilities for the European supply chain. In Europe, there is a huge market nowadays that we need to fulfill in the next 5 to 10 years. The energy transition needs BESS initiatives. And definitely when you can supply them locally as well, there are plenty of advantages. So I am very hopeful that very soon there will be more than 2 companies in Europe doing the same like we are doing today. So yes, very positive about the possibility, despite the difficulties with our very strong Chinese competitors.
Good. Ruben, let's talk about the technology of your company. On your opinion, what are the key technology and strengths of Maxxen Energy that you believe set the company apart from the competitors?
Very relevant question as well. So there are literally 50 tier 1 manufacturers out there. So how can you choose the right one? So obviously price, it's something that everybody is going to have in mind, and that's definitely relevant and important. Besides that, there are many other qualifications you need to make things well with a BESS system. And technology, being the right one, is extremely critical. On the hardware side, however, if we think about how batteries are made, you just have the building blocks with battery cells made of pretty much the same chemistry. We have NCA, we have NMC, we have LFP. Actually, LFP is the winning chemistry today for BESS. It's coming BESS batteries also with sodium, and there will be other technologies, but pretty much everyone is doing LFP today. And those building blocks are pretty much similar to each other. So there are so many differences in the hardware side of things. Where the differences come, and it's crucial, is on the software and control part of things. You need a BMS, you need a EMS, you need a power plant controller, you need the PCS, the power converting units, actually converting DC into AC. And there is where Europe can actually make a difference. And the regulation is also imposing this differentiation. It's also about sovereignty of the system. So being in Europe, supplying European solutions with the qualifications required for Europe is very important. BMS being extremely precise, a state of charge, a state of health is very, very critical for batteries, that everything is measured appropriately. And this is where we believe to be on the cutting edge of things, measuring the right things and having our own algorithms in the cloud, making the right assessments for our customers. EMS and power plant controller, also crucial. The control system is fundamental for any power generating facility, let alone batteries. Definitely the same thing here. We do have our own organic business unit in EMS and PPC solutions, which we are also implementing for the different applications where we are supplying our solutions. And that is a key differentiator with respect to many of our competitors who don't have more than just the hardware qualification, which is definitely important, but it's not the only variable to consider.
Now let's talk about the present and the future of Maxxen Energy. I mean, you have an area R&D center in Switzerland. You have
Switzerland.
An hub in Turkey where you produce.
We manufacture in Turkey, yes.
So how do you ensure the sustainability and consistency of the supply chain across two to different countries like Switzerland and Turkey? And the second question in one is that what segments you intend to invest more from a strategic standpoint?
I mean, sustainability, I hope we are all here in the same industry believing that sustainability is important. And I do believe personally, and Maxxen, definitely the company that I represent, believe sustainability is crucial. So the company is built upon sustainability from the ground up. Everything that we actually do has a commitment of zero carbon neutral, zero carbon emissions or neutral emissions with respect to everything we do. We know that the battery cells, which we source from China, do emit, and then we actually have to offset those emissions. So by definition, everything that we do, regardless of where the factory is, in this case in Turkey, is actually based on sustainability. On the quality of the supply chain, obviously we need to procure the right materials and assemble them in the right way. Everyone is typically doing certification of the products only. Obviously, the products need to be certified, otherwise you cannot bring them in a market. But not everyone is certifying the production facility which makes those products. The factories are typically not certified. And they should. At least we believe that, and we do have our own certification for the production of our solutions, which is actually certified by Tube, Sud, that complies with everything that needs to be done on the high level of quality standards that we assume for our own products. And this facility and the R&D structure that we have in place are meant to tackle mainly utility scale segment, to the second question, and C&I, behind the meter applications, large industrial behind the meter applications. We have strategically decided not to be in the residential segment yet. It's obviously a completely different segment with completely different go-to-market strategy, different channel distribution strategies that we, for the moment, don't want to go into. We are very much focused in utility scale and behind the meter large industrial applications.
So Ruben, we are talking in our headquarters here in Rome, Italy. Yes. So what kind of market is Italy in this historical moment for you?
The market is Italy is a great market to start with, and that's obviously the reason why we are all here too, and very happy about that, by the way. I think energy storage applications are needed all over the continent. Italy, particularly, even more. Why? I mean, from the fundamentals of the energy mix, there is a lot of gas in the energy mix of Italy. Gas is an extremely good source of flexibility, but it's not sustainable. And in conflicts like we are nowadays, it's expensive. So you definitely need to inject more solar, more wind in the grid. And if you want to make those sources of energy flexible, you need energy storage. And it's almost everything to be done still in the market in Italy. So we, depending on the source, you can actually talk about, but we are talking about 20, 30 gigawatts in the next 5 years. And that's a lot. So there is a lot of energy storage requirements in the country. And we can see, actually, obviously the Maxxen tender is a big boost for also making the headlines. I don't think it is the right tender for many players. Actually, I think it is just for a concrete application for certain players. Maxxen in itself, it's a great frame for certain specific players. There is a lot more beyond Maxxen that Italy still needs to do. And we are very happy to be one of those players that will hopefully make a difference also in the Italian market and supporting the country to go into more sustainable energy mix. No? Today, we are still a lot more dependent on gas, and we definitely need to change that. I think that is my personal opinion. Maybe not everyone thinks the same, but I do believe getting rid of gas is the fundamental base, wherever the solution comes from. But yeah, gas is not the future, we all know. And especially if you don't care about sustainability, probably it's fine, but it's just expensive, full stop. So we need to make something cheaper, and best with solar is cheaper.
Yeah. I have one last question for you. Let's close the interview with a broader vision. I mean, what are Maxxen Energy's ambitions between now and 2030?
Yes, so Well, the ambitions are always the sky is the limit, right? The more you can
Yeah.
do, the better. We obviously have a roadmap and we obviously have our own business plan in place. And so far, we are fulfilling the obligations and the promises we have made to our shareholders. We have established our own very, very cutting-edge factory in Turkey last year. It's a 5 gigawatt hour annual production facility that, by the way, everyone is welcome to visit. Very, very happy to welcome everyone to see a cutting-edge battery energy storage manufacturing facility in Europe, literally 3 hours away from here. And you can get a flight in the morning and come back in the evening, and then you really see the factory yourself. With this factory, we are committed to the European continent exclusively. We can actually supply in other continents, but where we have an organic advantage is here. And our business plan is in the next 5 years to allocate 10 gigawatt hours of solutions all across Europe. If we think that maybe 200 will be deployed, this means a 5% market share, which if you think about there are 50 players like us, it's actually an ambitious goal because the pie is big, but there are many players too. But we will, hopefully, and I believe we will, be a good contributor and one of those top players, particularly in the Italian market as well.
Thank you, Ruben, and thank you to Maxxen Energy.
Grazie Paolo, piacere again.